How's it, guys? Casey with the Coyote channel. Well, I just left the pavement and I'm working my way slowly but surely back up a series of ridge lines out of this valley. My immediate goal is to see if I can locate some other possible mining ruins up here. So I'm gonna be able to drive for a ways up there following some little Jeep trails, but at some point I won't be able to get any farther in the Jeep and I'll have to hike the rest of the way up there. So what's in store for this trip? Well, I'm gonna try to locate some more mining ruins. I don't know what'll be there. I just have some markings on an old map to go off of, so we'll go check that out. Roll into camp. I've got a few new little things to try out. Got some good food to cook tonight, and really just gonna enjoy exploring another little corner of a big area that I've been in. But today I'll be heading into kind of a little corner that I haven't really explored before. Now, as always this time of year, the weather could become an issue on this trip. The forecast is all over the board. It's depending on what elevation I'm at, it's saying it might rain, it might snow, it might just be cloudy. But the temperatures aren't very cold, so again, it's going to be that deal where if I get very much precipitation, it's just going to become a wet, sloppy mess out here. So I'm going to pray for not too much precipitation, but whether it comes or not, we're still going to enjoy the trip and have a good time. I'm hiking up this ridge line as I saw on a map a couple of old prospecting marks on, it was a map from the 1960s. So I see a little bit of sign of some digging up there, so I'm hoping that I'm getting close to it. You should be able to see really well behind me now these tailing piles. And out here in this kind of more high desert kind of area, you can spot these things a long ways away. So even though a lot of these tailing piles are 100 years old or so, definitely these are always a sure sign of some mining activity. So we're going to go up and check it out. Damn, that thing's deep. This shaft is really clean. It goes straight down. Obviously, no one's blocked it off. There's no mesh, there's no screen in it. And I can't quite tell how far down it goes. And I'm a little leery about getting too close to the edge because this rock in here is pretty soft and crumbly. It's pretty neat, another little set of mines up here in this area that I've been exploring for a couple of years now. All right, here's another one here. I'm not sure if this one's collapsed or if this was just a test hole, but look how crumbly that rock is. This was probably some pretty dangerous mining in here. But one cool thing about this is I see all these specks and little veins of agate in through the rock, which is pretty neat. It looks like it's caved in. All right, another really neat one I just stumbled into. This one's caved in, but there's still a part of the old ladder in it. It's just crazy that way up here on these cliffs and stuff, these guys did all this mining. And they camped up here and they basically lived up here. Probably went into town, you know, once every month or maybe even less than that. Got some supplies and came back out here. Look at this rock right here. That's a borehole in it from the drill that drilled in so they could set the explosives in there and blast out the rock. All right, as you can see, I'm back at the Jeep, and I'm going to jump back in and drive about, I don't know, a couple miles, maybe see if I can work my way across country and get into a canyon that I'm hoping to camp in. Alright guys, well, I found a little spot to camp. It's not a fantastic spot, but I think I got the Jeep somewhat level, and it kind of got dark on me while I was working my way through here, so yeah, I don't think I have my area very level here, but it'll work. Won't be the best I've ever had, but won't be the worst either. That's it. Bed set up. About 5 minutes. For those of you that are new to my channel, I'm running the Free Spirit Recreation 55 High Country Tri-Layer tent this winter. And it's been a pretty nice addition to my kit. It's actually an insulated fabric that really does stay a few degrees warmer inside it than your typical single wall tent. So I've really been enjoying that. So the next thing I'm going to do is start gathering some wood and get a fire going. Alright, so if I played my cards right, I'll be able to get this started. Even though it's a little damp out here, I got up underneath right up next to the trunks of the juniper tree and gathered some of these really small twigs. So with a little luck, I'll just be able to get a flame going on this with my lighter. So we'll see. Everything is a little damp. But what I do is I just make a nice tight packed little bundle of this stuff. And hopefully that'll start. And then right here I have my next size of wood staged. And then I've got a few pieces of bigger stuff too. Yeah, you can tell it's damp out here. This isn't wanting to get started, but come on, baby. There we go. Now she's going. Alright, I got a decent little pile of wood here that'll last for a little bit. Got some bigger pieces on there that'll start making some coals. So I'm going to go grab some of my gear and get the rest of my camp set up. I've got some delicious food to cook for dinner tonight. But one thing I wanted to show you guys is this Silky Big Boy 2000. This is a constant companion with me. And even this dry juniper wood out here, this thing processes like a mother. Oh yeah. Can't sit down now though. I got more camp to put up. Alright guys, I got something really exciting for dinner tonight. Well, at least it's exciting to me. So let me show you what I have here for ingredients. I've got a nice red pepper right here. I've got some cilantro. I've got a couple of nice steaks here. Some Tillamook cheddar cheese. Of course, some Challenge salted butter. And some street taco size flour tortillas. So, and of course, I've got the Rome pie iron. So, let's see what kind of magic we can make out of all this stuff. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the steaks on the grill so they can start cooking while I'm processing up the vegetables. And of course, because it couldn't be any other way, now it's started to rain out here right when I'm getting ready to cook dinner. So, got the Coyote Works survival knife here. It's a good little camp cooking sidekick. For any of you guys that don't know, this is the official Coyote Works survival knife. It's available through Chad at CK Knife and Tool. He did an awesome job on bringing my design to life. I'm just going to season these steaks with a little bit of pepper, A little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt. And a little bit of garlic powder. Just kind of rub that in there. Flip them over and hit the other side. Rub them up nice with that. I'm actually going to trim the fat off of them. I know everybody says that's the best part, but for what I'm doing, I don't want that fat on there. And I'm going to toss it out there. Maybe attract some of my Coyote brothers into camp tonight. Alright, I raked some coals over here underneath my grill. Now I'm going to put these steaks on. So while my steak's cooking, I'm just going to slice up some of my greens. These red peppers. And the cilantro I don't really need to do a lot to. I'll just kind of slice a little bit of it up here. Alright, I got everything prepared. I got my cheese, my red peppers, and my cilantro. And because it's raining out here, I'm just setting this other plate on top of it to keep it from getting too soaked. My beverage of choice for the evening, a little coconut water. Just a mini. I think my steaks are about done, so I'll pull those off and slice them. I'm just going to slice this steak up into nice thin little strips. Yeah, that's freaking good. Alright, now I got a nice little pile of steak there. Alright, this rain is just not letting up, so I had to move this operation over here underneath a tree. So I've got my pie irons here. First thing I'm going to do is get some butter in them. I just pulled them off the fire so they're nice and hot. I bushcrafted up a butter knife right here. And I want to get the butter all around them on the sides and everything. Alright, now we will go in with a tortilla. This is actually one of my subscribers turned me on to this idea of using a tortilla. Put a little bit of cheese in there. Maybe a nice decent amount of cheese. Well, you can't have too much cheese. Now I'll put some steak in there. Make sure we get a good amount of it. We like it so every bite has steak in it. A couple of red peppers. Add a little crunch and a little color. And a little bit of cilantro. I love cilantro. You can't ever have too much cilantro. And another tortilla. Now we'll go stick this on the fire. We'll give it about 3 minutes aside. Alright, let's see the reveal here. Ooh, that side looks good. Other side looks good. Beautiful. One piping hot quesadilla. All these pans are hot. I'm gonna put some butter in them. Yeah, I have to say that's amazing. Cheese is melted. Those red peppers just give it a little bit of a crunch. The steak seasoned just right, and the cilantro just gives it that little bit of a authentic Mexican flair. Alright, I got steak quesadilla number 2 on the fire, and the rain's lightened up a little bit, It's just enough that I need my storm shell on to keep me from getting wet, but not quite enough to make things really miserable. So yeah, usually out here in this country, if you can get back up underneath a big juniper tree like this, almost no matter what the weather's doing, you can actually stay decently dry. All right, number 2, looking good. Beautiful. Look at that. Very good. I'm looking forward to this one. God, I know I say this in every single video, but life just doesn't get any better than this. Even though the weather's not ideal, I didn't necessarily get to see the stuff that I wanted to see today, but in the end, it's all worth it. Some good food and just enjoying the outdoors. Well, that was a delicious dinner. Now I'm just kicking back, enjoying a little grizz. The nice thing, the rain's actually pretty much let up now, but the nice thing about it is it's not really very cold. I'll probably do a little bit of shooting tomorrow. Show you guys, I brought a few different guns along that you guys haven't seen before, and I'll show you guys those and probably run through a couple of drills that I need to work on right now. And other than that, I'm just going to kick back here, enjoy the last little bit of the fire as it burns down, and then crawl up in the rooftop tent. Well, I pretty much got camp buttoned up, got everything under cover there. Yeah, I'm a little damp, so I'm going to crawl up in the tent and work on getting myself dried off. Alright, so it's raining steady out there. Well, I got dry clothes on and everything, and I'm just going to kick back and read for a little bit. I think I got a pretty good book on my iPad, but got a little protection to keep the wolves at bay. There's starting to be a few wolves out here, I guess. I don't know that they're really much of a problem for people, but I have heard that they can be. So be interesting as to see if their populations continue to grow out here. It is unbelievable how warm it is out here. The rain's let up a little bit, but I'm just lounging here in my tent in my t-shirt with, well, I have the pilot light on my heater, but I'm not even running the heater. It must be like close to 50 degrees out there or something, which is just insane for the first part of February. Like, this is usually the hardcore middle of winter here for us. So all right, guys, I think I've done about all the damage I can do for one day. I'm going to crawl into the wiggies and get myself a little nap and get a few hours of sleep so we can have another day of adventure. And tomorrow we'll probably do a little shooting, do a little bit more exploring, and it'll be a good day. So for now, Coyote works out. I'll see you guys for coffee. Alright, well, at least for the moment, it's not raining, so my first priority is get a fire going so I can get some coals started and have a little breakfast. At least for now, when it's wet like this, my driest wood is this stuff that's up closest to the trunks of the trees, so I'm just going to go around and saw a few of these lower dead limbs off. Alright, let's see if this wood's a little damp this morning, but we'll see if we can't get something started out of my little juniper tree twig bundle. Alright, now that I got the fire to critical mass, I'm going to try something. I got a new thing along on this trip that I'm going to try out and see if it's going to greatly simplify some of the firewood problems that I have in the winter. Alright, so oftentimes in the winter, finding dry firewood can be a real issue. And then in some areas where I go, like in here, it's not too bad, there's a lot of wood. But in a lot of areas where I go, even just finding wood, period, is really difficult to find. So, buddy of mine at work, Josh, turned me on to these 100% fuel bricks. These particular ones are Strawberry Mountain Forest Biomass Fuel Bricks. And these things are supposed to burn a long time, burn a really hot coal, and the nice thing is they come packaged all nice and tidy in this shrink wrapped kind of cellophane packaging. If these suckers work, this could be a really neat little solution, because this little brick right here, this has 6 logs in it. I could easily throw 3 or 4 of these along. So the question then becomes kind of how will these things burn? So I'm going to kind of try them out on this trip. So I'm going to throw one on the fire right now. I'll put one of these suckers on there and we'll see how they go. Maybe I'll put 2 on there, huh? Alright, so I just set them on the fire and they're actually already starting to burn a little bit, so they catch fire pretty easily. So we'll see how long those things burn. Alright, well, I'm getting ready to cook some breakfast and I'm going to bushcraft me up a little butter knife. There's a couple of knives that I really like. One is the Benchmade Bushcrafter, and it's a little smaller knife, but for just all around camp chores and more of a survival knife, I'm so happy to finally have the perfect knife designed, and really appreciate Chad over at CK Knife and Tool working with me to design the Coyote Works survival knife. This thing is just a beast. It's a beast, but it's still nimble enough to do small tasks like this around camp. The trick for a butter knife is I don't want it too thin, because I don't want it to break and splinter in my butter. What do you think, guys? Think that'll work? I think it'll work just fine. Alright, I got a ham steak on the fire, got my pie irons heating up, so I'm getting ready to have some breakfast. So a little update on the fire bricks while my breakfast sandwich is cooking. So they've been burning for about an hour now, and they do actually continue to put off a flame, which is good. So I could probably pretty easily carry 12 of them, 2 of those packages of bricks in with me, and that would give me a good, I mean, even if I burn 4 of them at a time to have a good flame and some good heat, that would give me a good, probably between 4 and 6 hours worth of fire. So that's actually pretty good. I think I'm gonna throw those in a little bit more often during the winter, or when I'm heading into areas that just don't have any wood. All right, let's do the reveal. Nope, just almost got it a little bit too done. Perfect. Yeah, that's good breakfast, guys. Ham, egg, and cheese breakfast quesadilla. So real quick, wanted to talk to you guys about the model of silky saw that I use, because they've got quite a few of them in this similar size range. This is basically the Silky Big Boy. but there's a very specific model that I like, and that's the Big Boy 2000 6.5. And the reason I like this one, there's a couple of reasons. One is this curved blade makes it a lot more efficient at cutting, even with one hand. The other thing is this blade happens to be a little bit thicker than either the medium or the large tooth standard straight Silky Big Boy saw blade. So this is the Silky Big Boy 2000, and this is actually the specific model of Silky Big Boy that I like. So I started getting a few drops of rain, so I went ahead and buttoned up the rooftop tent because it was actually decently dry. So this way it'll be fine. It's got a little bit of moisture on it, but it'll be fine until my next camping trip, which will only be like a week from now. So I do have my recovery tracks strapped on, and I don't always have my recovery tracks with me, but this time of year, when there's a combination of snow and mud and rain, they're a good thing to have along. And I actually carry four of them with me. I've had 2 in the past, and I just find that if I've got all 4 of them, that makes it much easier to crawl out of some kind of a deep hole or something. And these are the Action Tracks recovery tracks. So these are made in the USA. I've used them a couple of times. All the teeth are still on them. They seem to be a great product. Well, I've pretty much got my camp buttoned up, but now I got a storm coming in about to hit me, or a little bit of a front. I can just feel the first couple of drops of rain. If this storm doesn't hit too bad, I've got a nice little shooting range right over there. I'm going to send a couple of rounds down range before I leave camp. Alright, so I'm just going to send a couple of rounds down range. I'm shooting the G34 with the Surefire X300 on it. For me, shooting is one of those tasks that just takes my mind off of anything else. As you guys can see, I'm not very good at it, but it is something that I really enjoy. And over the years, I've tried to maintain some kind of a base level of skill at it, sometimes less successfully than others. But one of the things I love about our country is that we have the right to own firearms, and this is something that I can freely do. However, a lot of society isn't really comfortable with them. So one of the nice things about being way out there in the middle of the desert is I can do things like this and just really don't have to worry about what anybody else thinks about it. Alright, I'm going to send a few rounds down through the G17 here. Alright, I'm just burning the last of my trash. Alright, I got my range cleaned up, so I'm going to hit the trail. So it was getting dark last night as I was working my way into that spot where I camped, but I am completely off trail. I actually got to the end of one Jeep trail and then just started working my way across country where there was no road or there was no trail. So now I'm picking my way out of here. There's been a little rain, so it's a little tough for me to see my tracks in spot. So I'm just kind of dead reckoning and trying to work my way back out of here. That's one nice thing about a lot of this country out here is it's just open enough that even if you don't have a road, you can usually pick your way across country to get to some place. It's not recommended, and I always want to be really careful of the environment, not to tear things up too bad, but in this country I'm just going nice and slow, and I'm not spinning my tires or anything like that. All right, I made it back to an actual road and having a little bit of a coffee. It was too bumpy off-road to be able to drink coffee while I was driving down the trail. So I'm gonna work my way down this road a ways, and then I'll get back down into the bottom of the valley, go down it a little ways, and then I'm gonna try to explore up another little side canyon. Well, I think this trip's winding down. It's just continuing to rain steady, and these roads are getting sloppier and sloppier, so I think I'm going to get down out of these little canyons while the getting is still good. So it wasn't the most amazing trip in the world. I didn't find too many super cool things. I did locate one more little mine site up in this corner of the country, which I'm pretty stoked about. But as always, it was just enjoyable to be out here for a couple of days away from people and exploring around some of the back roads. I got about an hour and a half left to get back to my house, so I'm thinking head home, have a shower, get my gear cleaned up a little bit. Some of it got a little muddy and sloppy on this trip, and then I'm probably going to head for a cheeseburger or some Chinese food or something. So as always, enjoyed having you guys along. Appreciate your comments, all your support and everything, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next adventure. Coyote Works, out.